president of the chamber. My very first visit was knocking on Shawn's door, because I know where he's at in Linden. So thank you, Linden, for having such a great business in your community. And so I went and visited Shawn. I said, Shawn, you need to be part of the Chamber of Commerce. We need you, we need your leadership, and we need your, how should I say it, leadership again to carry us forward. So I was excited to talk to him. He put me through the motions of what's my return on investment, right? I can't imagine someone that deals in stocks and trading, buying, selling would ever ask me that. And so he put me on the spot. I had to prove to him why the Chamber of Commerce would be a good investment for his business. And the next thing we started discussing as a board with the Chamber of Commerce was involving Shawn in one of our either luncheons or breakfasts. It had to be a breakfast because when does the stock market open, gentlemen? Question? Early, it's open. Yeah. And so we had to do a breakfast. And so we wanted to involve Shawn and teach people how to trade, how they can make some additional income. But we got talking even more as a board, chamber board, and we said the chamber believes in education, relationships, and a community and service. And that's one of our main values is we want to be of service to the community, whether the business community or the Pleasant Grove and Linden communities. And within that community, we have a great high school. And they're sitting right over here, and I was part of the Deca Club way back when, but there was only like a few of us, right? And I'm gonna have Coach come up and just talk for just a second and bring some leadership with him here, or ladies who want to kind of talk to us what the Deca Club is. You have like a couple minutes, and then we'll roll forward, okay?
I told them that they were gonna talk, because they're the professionals, so. I'm Derek Scova. I'm the advisor of the Deca Club at the high school. We have currently about, I can speak loud.
Okay,
I'll use my coaching voice.
Okay.
We have about 35 active members, about 112 total members. These four ladies are four of my fantastic leaders, so I'm going to let them tell you kind of what Deca is and why they think it's beneficial.
Pressure's on. Okay.
Who wants to? I can start. Okay. So Deca is just a club, and it's a business club. So its main focus is marketing. It teaches marketing through a lot of different aspects, whether like food or clothing or entrepreneurship, and it teaches marketing businesses, marketing products, and it's a competition. And so you go in and you get put into a business scenario, and you try to solve a business problem within your chosen topic, and you go present it, and then it teaches you how to communicate clearly. You need to turn me off and go.
I just came with the mic, and now we're done, huh? Are we done?
Yeah, I'm done. Do you guys want to say anything?
I'll say something just real, I don't know.
Yeah, you have.
Okay. Okay. So something that I really like about Deca is that it directly applies to life. So it's one of the clubs that goes unnoticed because it's not something that you would think was super fun, because when we tell people it's business and marketing, they turn away pretty quickly. But I've really enjoyed it because, like I said, it directly applies to life, and it's taught me a lot of things, and it gives a lot of networking. And so we've all met, like our judges are good businessmen and women, and it gives us a lot of opportunity to meet new people and to be in places like this where we get to see where we could be and where business and marketing takes us. And so, yeah, it's really beneficial for sure.
Yeah, another thing I love about Deca is that it teaches you so much. I started Deca not knowing a thing about business or marketing or anything, and I've come out knowing so much that I didn't even think I had ever known in my life, and I love it a lot. And just like Maya said, it really does prepare you for your life and everything that you're gonna do.
So thank you, ladies and Coach, for being here this morning. Our goal this morning is to make money, and we want that money to go to the Deca Club. And we're trying to do a great partnership with our Deca Club because they are our future leaders, business leaders, and we need to show them that. We need to show them that that's what the Chamber of Commerce is all about, is helping them. And so moving forward, the Chamber of Commerce is going to be your friend and ally, and we want to help you out because we know that when you go to your conferences and other competitions, you need a friend and an ally there, and we want to be that for you. So let's give them a round of applause. All right, we'll let you escape to your table here. Okay, so I'm going to turn the time over to Mr. Shawn Lucas and let him actually talk to you what he's going to do this morning because you don't want me talking about it because I'll get you lost. So Shawn, come on up.
All right, thank you, Eric. It's great to be with you this morning. We just kind of give you a background on Apiary Fund and what we do and accomplish this morning. So Apiary Fund, you can think of Apiary Fund as a mutual fund. Everybody raise your hand if you know what a mutual fund is, right? Most of us have mutual funds with an IRA or with our employment plan or something like that. But what we do is we take a little bit of our earnings every month and we put it into a fund, right? We collect everybody makes a contribution to that fund, and so now there's this just big pile of money in some account somewhere, yours and about 1 million other people's money is all put into this little fund, and then you go out, that fund will go out and hire someone to manage it. Does that make sense? So they do these interviews, they go out and they try and find the best money managers that they can find, and those guys come in, and now they're responsible for managing a small part of that fund. It's a pretty simple concept, right? You got fund managers that manage a portion of this mutual fund that all your retirement accounts are in, right? So Apiary is a fund. Apiary has a fund, only instead of having a bunch of different contributors like each one of you, this is all basically the company's money. Does that make sense? So the company makes money, we put it into the fund, and then we go out and we hire and try and develop fund managers. So we're not in the business of going and finding the top-rated fund manager out there. Our business is to go out there and say, hey, are you interested in learning how to manage a portfolio, how to manage money? Someone raises their hand and says, yes, I'm interested. And then what we do is we go through a development process, a training process, where we help them, number one, learn how the market works. But more importantly than learning is then how to take that knowledge and put it into practice. How do you actually do it? How do you actually move money through the market? And then through that process, once they're in that development, that training process, once they get to a certain level in their proficiency, we'll put them in a simulation, just like an airplane pilot. You know, they have to like fly a simulation before they go and get in a real airplane. Why do they do that? Why do you think? They're in $1 billion airplane, right? Right. It's a lot easier to crash on paper than it is in real life, right? So they put them in simulation. We do the same thing. We put all of our traders in simulation. They get to fly around. They'll crash in simulation, you know. Anyone crashed before? Yeah, I think most of us have done that in simulation. So they'll test, they'll figure out how to work things in the simulation, and then once we see that they're hitting a proficiency level, once we see that this trader is able to manage money successfully, then what we do is we give them a little portion of the company funds to manage. Kind of a fun little business, right? So we're in the process of what I call what I say is developing traders, developing money managers. And that's the little niche that we've found. Now, I got to tell you guys that there is a whole lot of companies out there, a whole lot of books, a whole lot on the internet that will teach you about the market, right? You just do a Google search and you'll get loads of YouTube videos, you'll get loads of book references, you'll get loads of advertisements. You know, I'll teach you this, I'll teach you that, I'll teach you this. But what this industry has missed for a very long time is that doing part. It's the simulation, it's the taking the knowledge and putting it into practice. And so that's what Apiary Fund's niche is we're there to facilitate the transition from knowledge. We teach, we have a whole load of curriculum that we teach, but our main focus is moving a person from the learning into the doing. And that's what we're going to do this morning. I'm going to take you through a little trading session this morning. I'm going to now, for those out in YouTube and the rest of the world, we've had some challenges with our internet this morning, and so we're getting started a little late. Apologize for that. But hopefully, what we're trying to accomplish here today is we've given out $2,500 accounts for this group to manage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a trading session with you, and we're going to go ahead and buy and sell different currencies. Primarily, we'll focus in on the euro dollar this morning because Mario Draghi last night, who is the head of the European Bank, he said, we're going to keep interest rates unchanged. So interest rates are like the interest rates like rule the world. You make a little change to an interest rate, it has huge ramifications all across the globe. And so Mario Draghi last night said, we're going to leave things unchanged. Well, the rest of the world was hoping he would lower interest rates, make things a little bit easier for the economy in Europe, but they didn't. And so now the market's like all crazy, active, busy. And so we're going to try and facilitate a little bit of a liquidity in that market this morning. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to open up my account, and we're going to place a couple. We're going to do some trading, and I'm going to kind of explain what we're doing as we go through the process. Now, our goal here today, whenever you sit down in the markets, you have to have goals. Like, we are so goal-oriented, or at least I am. I need to accomplish a certain thing in the market today. So our goal today in this little trading session is I want to make more in this trading session than the average person makes in an entire day of work. Does that sound like a fun goal? So if we can make more in 1 hour in this trading session than the average person makes in an entire day of work, that's a pretty nice little goal to have. And any profits that we generate, will be going to a scholarship fund for our local Deca team. So for those of you out in YouTube, thank you. For those of you out in YouTube, cheer us on, because we're going to need a little bit of help this morning. So, all right, let's get started then. Markets are moving, so we want to just jump in there. Am I trading on this computer or this one? Surface. All right. I'm gonna need. I didn't get this set up. It's set up over here, but I didn't get it set up here. So we're going to log into a trading account. And actually, I need my lucky hat. Some athletes have lucky socks. I have a lucky hat. If I have it on, life is good. It's like when you're a little kid, you got the whoopee, the little blanket, you know? It's my hat. All right. If I could get a drink, a glass of water, that'd be awesome. Dave? Okay, so what we have here is the euro. We're looking at the euro dollar, and this is how this chart represents how price has formed over in history. So what we can see on this chart is that the euro has gone up, sideways, down, up. So what this chart represents is a history of what price in the euro dollar, thank you, Eric, what price in what the euro dollar has done. And so what we'll be doing is we'll try and buy the euro when it's going up. So just very simple concept. We're going to try and buy the euro as it's going up. We're going to try and sell it off while it's going down. Okay? And it's important that we note right here that our beginning balance for this trading session is $51,429. So we're going to start the, will you grab my notepad out of the backpack there? So we're going to trade, it's the manila folder and then a pen, if you don't mind. So we're going to trade, and we're going to try and make the average income in an entire day. US average income over an entire day is $173. So $173 is our goal. So what that means is that we're going to need to increase our balance down here. We're going to need to increase our balance to $51,602.48. Okay? So how do we do that? Over here is this is our buys and our sells. So anytime we want to get into the market and into the euro, we'll buy. Anytime we want to get out of the euro, we'll sell. And then that'll open up. What that will do is it'll put a trade over here in our orders screen. And when we want to close it, when we want to close that order, we'll just simply hit the X over here. Not this one. Yours might be over here, but the X for the order. So I'll show you how that works here in just a second. All right, so right now, you can see that the euro dollar for the last several minutes has been rallying. So we've got to delete all this. The other thing I want to do is I want to look at so now what I'm looking at is I've got a 5-minute chart on the left. So I want to look at a slightly longer time frame. I got a 5-minute chart on the left and a 1-minute chart on the right. And as that pulls back, you see these green lines here? Once it crosses that green line, it's going to trigger the sell to close the trade. And we'll make just a little bit of money on that. So we're just going to get warmed up right here. We've got 2 sell orders in, or 2 sells. We've sold twice. And all it has to do is to come down and cross those green lines, and it will close those trades out for a profit. Now, if it comes up here and crosses these orange lines, then we lose. So it's a binary process. We either make money or we lose money. One thing that you'll notice is that traders, when we manage money, there's always losses involved in that process. For those of you who run business, you have expenses in the business, right? You have things that you have to go buy. There's things that you have to pay for. The same thing in the market. When we're trading, we have expenses. Those are losses in a portfolio, okay? So every portfolio will endure some wins and some losses. So first 2 trades were wins. and it just closed those out. So now I'm just going to build into a buy. Now it's come down to that line, and so now I'm going to build into a buy right in here. And we'll start to, we're going to build a little bit bigger position this time. We started out really small, and now we're going to build into a little bit bigger position. So now I'm in $40,000 worth of the euro, $40,000 worth of the euro right now. 50,000. Now, the one thing that I have to be careful of in a trade like that is if it breaks and moves lower. So if it breaks and moves lower down here, then this little trend that it's formed all morning long will be broken. And I need to get out of the trade if it breaks that trend. Does that make sense? So this is going to be an important turn in the market. We watched it come down. This is an important turn that we need to make. And we don't want it to break that red trend line. So it rallied up. So what I do is, this is like a language. Reading this market is like a language. And so what I have to do is I have to learn how to read the language, right? Just like you're learning a foreign language, you have to learn all the rules about how that language works and make, in order to understand how to speak and to function in that language. And so the same thing here. I've got to learn how this language works before I can make these decisions. So right now, I'm anticipating that turn. It made a little turn, and now it's got to come up and hit at least the last high over here, which is right here, that red line. So now I'm looking for it to come up and hit all those green lines up at the top there. Those are all closing orders. So think of it like this. We'll open up orders to sell, or we'll open up orders to buy. And in normal market world, you would sell. Once you buy, you have to go in and sell. We're just going to close. Instead of thinking of it as selling, we're going to close. So you can close long orders or you can close short orders. It doesn't matter. It's just closing it. All right, so now we broke that red line. You see that? And now the market is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. So now everything about this market has changed, and I need to now evaluate what I'm going to do. Am I going to close out of all of these trades and expect the market to make a down leg here? Or do I think that the market will make another rally up? So these are decisions. So what I look for to make the decision is where do I expect this down leg to stop? So will it stop? I am expecting it to stop right here or right here. One of those two spots is where I'll expect it to stop. So I can either close out of these trades and take a little loss, or I can wait for it to hit these where I think the market's going to stop and build into another position. So a portfolio manager is constantly building positions, building, or taking off positions, selling, closing. And that's what I'm gonna build another layer right in here. Now I'm up to just shy of $210,000 on this trade. And I'm gonna change where my targets are just ever so slightly. Remember, we gotta get up to the green lines in order to make money. And we're gonna, so in order for the market to turn, what I'm looking for this trade to really work out, it's gonna be hard, but there's a red line right there. I need it to go above that red line. Just added a couple more into this trade. Now, all of these trades up here are in losses, so we're losing what we call, we're losing a couple of pips on these trades. So the chances of it coming up at this point aren't to hit these trades up here. The chances of it coming up to hit these isn't all that great. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start to now manage where do I want those, where's the best place to put those triggers, those closed triggers. And so I'm going to pull these down just a little bit here. Add a couple more. So I'm looking for that turn for a little pop higher from here. So if we can make that turn here and then cross that red line, we should be in good shape. So there's the little turn. Now, one candle forms the turn. Each of these is called a candle. One candle forms the turn, and then you need a second candle to verify the turn in the market. So this current candle, we're going to look for it to form a higher high. We want it to go higher than the previous candle. So right here, we need the current candle to go above that candle. That will establish a new slight uptrend in the market. It's so quiet. If you have questions, go ahead and ask them.
Yeah, where are all those green lines that get formed?
The green lines? The green lines are our targets. So wherever a green line is, it's gonna, if the market crosses a green line, it's gonna close out trades. So those are our targets. You think of it like the finish line in a race. You're in the race, you gotta cross the target to end the race, the goal line. Those are our goals. That's our goal line. So all we need is the market to run up and cross one of these green lines, and it will close out that trade, either for a profit or for a loss. All right, so instead of making that turn here, what it's done is it's come back down. So now we've got another line here, and I expect it'll come down to that next line, and we're gonna build another layer into this trade, build another layer of trades in here. So pulls back. I'm gonna wait for it for just a second before I start adding. Okay, now I'm gonna start building my third layer in the market.
So you're adding all those lines right now?
Yep, I'm adding.
So you're teaching people how to do this, then they do it all day long, half a day?
Yeah, not all day long. They'll get tired. Usually what I encourage our traders to do, by the way, we have Apiary Fund, just so you know, has 1,800 traders. So picture 1,800 guys like me all over the world, Africa, Australia, Asia, Europe, South America, all over the world. These guys are spread out, and they're sitting down and they're managing a trading session just like this. Those guys, I encourage them to trade for not much more than 1 or 2 hours a day, because what happens is your efficiency level starts to drop off after a couple of hours. Trading involves a lot of intense real-time analysis. You're constantly moving and adjusting. The neurons in the brain are just firing. And so it's a pretty intense endeavor. And so what I do is I look, trade for a couple hours. You can make plenty of money in a couple hours. You can still trade your portfolio and go out and golf for the afternoon, or if you have another job, you can go work another job or something along those lines. But much more than a couple hours is really not effective. Have you ever seen New York? Like the rich guys in New York, they go into the office for a couple hours and then they're gone. They're down at the clubs, the business clubs or whatever, and doing things, but they're very rarely there for 8 hours. All right, so here's a second opportunity. We're now entering a second opportunity to make a turn higher in the market. Okay, it's starting to do it right here.
So is it pumped up? It looks like one of those lines disappeared.
Yep, we took profit. Yeah, we closed some of those trades out for profit.
Okay.
Now another set of trades we closed out for profit. And let's see if it pops up. If we've got a whole set right here that we will now.
Cheering a lot inside.
In the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, when you're first starting how to manage money like this, it's like you got this roller coaster of emotions. You've got everything from sheer panic on one side and unimaginable happiness on the other side. And you've experienced the continuum from both ends of that.
Because watching those lines disappear is kind of a rush.
It kind of is. So there's a whole line that's crossed. Now, this is an important line right here, that red line. What we need to do is establish a movement higher. Whole set of trades just fired off right there. Perfect. Just a little bit more and I'll get that last little set off. And it's pulling back.
Is that minute by minute?
Yeah, these are minute by minute. So I'm gonna book a couple of losses right there. So if we come over here, you'll see I booked a couple of losses through that. But I also booked a bunch of wins. So these are all wins. Greens are wins, reds are losses. Okay, so I need that to jump up just a little bit. I'm going to pull these targets down just ever so slightly.
As you move that, what the value is going to change?
We're trading super small right now. We're moving, each of these trades is $10,000, but of real cash that is being deposited into the account to hold as a reserve is only about $100 per click, so per trade. So $100 controls $10,000. But what that means is that the profit over here, this is like real wins or losses, this is real money, is only like $3.70. So in a normal session, I'd be trading bigger sizes, but because we're here and we're talking and my attention's not on it the whole time, I'm trading really small pieces. All right, so now I'm gonna add another layer here. So it came down and hit that So it turned and dropped lower, and it's down on that support line right here, that second line that I drew. So it's down there. So I'm going to build another layer right here. And then I'm going to pull these down ever so slightly. And this is going to very likely, now what I'm reading in this is it had an attempt to rally higher right here. But what happened is someone came in and sold that really strongly. Does that make sense? And the sell was stronger than the buy. Do you see that? The blue bar is bigger than the green bar. And so what that means is that there's someone out there that's really interested in pushing this market lower. So I need to be careful about how I build these positions, because little things like that, where you can see, like right now it's flickering between green and blue. That's a little tug of war between the buyers and the sellers. And so I need to be careful. Because there's a good possibility that strong seller will push it and break that red line right there. That's our support in the market. And so I don't want it to break that. Otherwise, I have to go back and look at where is the next layer of support going to be. Where's that next layer of support? And right in here will be the next layer of support. And so I'll have to manage a position all the way back down into that section down in there. So we're going to be a little bit careful right in here. Just start to add just ever so small positions. And see if we can get some buying pressure to push that up again. Now, I was explaining to the Deca team over here, trading funds like the Apiary provide a very, very important function in the market. So banks, for example, they're subject to extreme valuation shifts based on what kind of currencies they're holding in their vaults. Does that make sense? If they've got a bunch of euros because Toyota just sold a bunch of cars in Europe, and all that money goes into their bank, well, if the euro goes and drops on them, all the profit that they made on those cars starts to vanish. So what the banks do is they contact traders like me, and they say, Shawn, I know you've got a fund. I know you've got 1,800 traders out there. Will you provide us some liquidity? Meaning, will you buy and sell euros so that we can move that money off of our books and get it back into dollars? Does that make sense? So that's the role that a trader plays in the market. We're kind of like the grease in the engine to keep the engine moving, right? Because if all that money was stuck in the bank and they couldn't move it, they would win, or they could go bankrupt overnight if the value of the euro drops. Does that make sense? Or the Toyota could go bankrupt if they're holding all their assets in euros, they could go bankrupt. So we provide an essential function in the movement of money throughout the globe. Question here.
That becomes the whole tension, right? Because if the bank wants to move the euros out, that means they think the euro's going to drop, and then they want to sell it to you, and they want you to buy it.
Right.
And so this bank with all sorts of analysts is wanting to get rid of the euro because they think it's going to short, and they're asking us to buy it. So where does that dynamic really come in?
So it's all time frames, right? So the bank, so they're thinking they don't know if the euro is going to go up or down. They don't care. They just want to get it off their books. So they don't have an interest, the bank doesn't have an interest in making money on the fluctuation of a currency. They have an interest in getting it off their books and into their base currency, which euros or dollars or whatever it is. So their timeframes and their motives are very different than our timeframes and our motives. And you can see, you know, right now I'm in a buying mode right now where I'm buying euros, buying euros, buying euros. But there's, you know, thousands of traders out there that are in selling mode and selling, selling, selling. Even within my fund right now, even within my fund, I have buyers and sellers. So half my portfolio will be buyers, half my portfolio will be sellers. So it doesn't matter to us.
In addition to this technical analysis, do you carry in any kind of bias like you were talking about the European Central Bank and what they did? Did you come into this morning thinking, okay, because of that, the euro is more likely to go up or more likely to go down in addition to whatever the top charts tell you?
Yeah, the question is did I come in with a slight bias? Yes, I did. The fact that the euro has rallied through that entire European session, that makes me want to be buying euros. So that's why we're buying them for the most part. We may shift. We may shift in between. In the session, we may be going the other direction as well. All right, so what we need is another turn like we had a minute ago. We need one more turn. And that turn will happen right about where it's at. So right now is where we want to start cheering and saying, turn, 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 right? Deca team, we got... This is your money we're trading. Like, we need a little bit of energy going on here. So we're trading for you this morning, so we need to get to the chair. Okay, right up here. So we need it to cross this red line right here, because that'll give it a little bit of momentum. There we go, nice. There we go. So we just took a bunch of profits on that trade. We need another. Oh, look at that. Yeah, okay, it's okay. We can chat, we can clap. There we go. So we just cleared off the books. And that market's now at its high point, and I'm going to start selling now. So now I'm just changing gears, and I'm going to start building a sell position in that market.
I didn't realize Deca could move the market like that.
Deca can move the market. Did you hear that? Okay, now we want you to cheer for it to go down. You got that? So now we want that market to drop just a little bit. And in order to, so I've been trading really small, I've been trading really small. So now I'm gonna start to inch up our size and trade a little bit bigger size. So each time I click the mouse button now, it'll be worth a little bit more. And we're gonna start to build into bigger moves, bigger movement. Oh, never mind. All right, that all hit, so we're good. Everything's great. I just didn't get my trades in. You got to be fast, right? This is an agility job. All right. Okay, so now I have to read and try and figure out what the market is going to likely do here. So I'm kind of at a. It's given me some signals that it wants to go up. It's given me some signals that it wants to go down. There's a lot of, we don't really know exactly what it's going to do at this point. So actually let me, if it pops up, I'm going to put some cells in because it hasn't made the turn on the 5-minute chart yet, and we've got a minute left. So I'm going to start to sell. I'm going to increase the size right in here. Sell. So I just hit the $500,000 mark. So we're now in a $500,000 worth of sales. This is still relatively small for most of the way. This is still relatively small. Now, the one thing we don't want to have happen is I don't want that to make the turn on the 5-minute chart. So the turn on the 5-minute chart happens right about here. So it's important that we hold this line in the, never mind. It's important we hold that line. And we don't want it to cross higher like it's doing right here. That's the thing we don't want. However, let's see if we can get that thing to drop here. I'm going to pull all these up just ever so slightly up to the low of this point right here. And I've got one last line of defense in the market right here. And so as long as we maintain that line, we're still in pretty good shape with these sales. Okay, so we now need the turn lower. And we got to kind of wait and watch and see how it performs. The thing that's making me a little bit nervous right now is that there's follow through on the sell. So before, when it dropped back down, it made a really strong move, but it reversed and moved lower. But now it's making a strong move and holding. So if you think about pushing a car, right? Pushing a car uphill, in fact. If you can push the car uphill and hold it and rest, then you've got energy to make another push. Does that make sense? And so that's what it's doing right now, is the market is pushing it, it's resting for a second, making another push, resting for a second, taking another push, resting for a second. And so as long as it can do that, you know, it's making progress uphill, right? Normally we'd expect it to push and then it comes back, you know, when we rest. But it's strong right now because it's pushing and not pulling back. All right, so this is a bad thing for us right here. So I'm looking at one more line of defense in the market right up here, and that'll be kind of our last line of defense. So I'm going to start to build another short position. And what I want is that market to make that turn right here. So I really need it to break this line and start moving lower. Once it does that, so coming down, so I just booked a bunch of profit layers, but I've got all these are all underwater. So I'm losing money on all of those right now. But I need it to break this line, which it's kind of trying to do right here, and move lower. So this is the turning point. So you'll notice I'm always trying to find the turning point in the market. Where's the turning point? Add another layer right in here. And because we're getting in a little bit larger, we're going to see some fluctuations in the account balance now that are a little bit bigger. And now I've got to pull these. I'm going to book some losses on a whole bunch of these trades because I'm underwater or losing money on some of the position. So the last thing I want to do is get in trouble. Don't want to get upside down on these trades. And let's see what we can pull out. And this happens all the time. I mean, a good trader, you have to learn that the market doesn't always go the way you expect it to go or the way you want it to go. But your job as a money manager is to figure out how, regardless, whether it goes in your favor or against you, your job as a trader is to figure out how to make money by the end of your session. So even though we're upside down and even though we're losing a little bit of money on this, it doesn't matter. What's important is that I figure out how to make money by the end of that trading session. So let's see if we can make that turn here. So a little bit, it's still finding support on that little red line that we have drawn. So we need it to break that red line. And these targets down here are now too far away for us to expect to hit those. So I'm pulling those targets up so that it's a little bit closer now. We're going to pull this down. If it makes that turn right here, it should come down to where all these targets are. So I'm going to maximize my income by adjusting these lower. All right, now it's starting to hit the our last line of defense. So I gotta add one more layer right in here. And I'm just building layers and layers and layers in that market, waiting for that market to make its turn lower. So at any point it makes that turn, that's where we'll start to make some money in the account. So I'm building a position. And trying to be ready, trying to have everything ready for a turn wherever or if or when that turn happens. So I just got to find that turn. It's trying it again right now. It's trying to make that turn right here. There's a little starting to break that red line. There we go. That's a good turn. Now we need it to build strength. We need to see that market build strength in the down leg now, like it built it in the up leg. Now we're fighting all of the bias that we had this morning, right? So we're against all that bias. So we're trying to ask the market to do something with a slight disadvantage, okay? Okay, so right now so we broke the red line, which is really good. But now the turn point has to be right there. So we've got to break that red line. Once it breaks that red line, then we should be able to hit all of these targets down here, if it does.
Think we need Deca to move the market.
Yeah, we need another Deca chair. So this is the turning point right here. That's what we want it to break, and we want it to break pretty strong. Yeah, no, that's not what we want. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to build another layer in this if it comes up, and wait for that turn to happen. It's not going up yet. Still moving kind of sideways right now. Okay, so now we're going to build that. Now these targets are all above that red line, so that's why we want to make sure that we build these layer in, because if it comes down and tests that support line again, we want to make some profit on that account, on that set of trades. So we're going to build into that. So a lot of us think about investing. We think, oh, we've got to find the market which direction it's going, and we have to be right. And we battle this emotion, of being right and being wrong all through that process, of trading. And if you're just going out and picking a stock to invest in, yes, you better be right on that stock, right? Because you have limited resources, you have limited time, and so you have all of this emotion focused on making the right decision at the right time. And what a trader experiences is it's not about being right at the right moment and at the right time. It's about building and managing these positions. So it doesn't matter if you're winning or losing. What matters is how you manage it through the process. Does that make sense? So we'll take losses throughout a trading session. We'll have wins throughout the trading session. And all through that, we're working towards our goal that we set at the beginning of this trading session. And as long as we get that goal, that's what matters at the end of the day. And that's what kind of differentiates what the average investor, like your neighbors, for example, how they look at the market versus how someone like an Apiary Fund trader would look at the market. And that thing is just being persistently higher right here. Oh, I forgot I'm trading a big size here. I'm going to pull that down. All right, so another turn, we need another turn right here. Another turn lower. And let's see if we can get that turn. Or again, the big point right here is that red line. If we can get the market to cross that red line, then everything shifts in our favor at that point. So I got to know, where is that line where everything shifts in our favor? And that is that line, that red line right there. We'll make a little bit of money in the process of getting to that red line, but everything hinges on the market breaking that red line right now. So we'll see if we can get it to drop a little bit more here. And these, again, I'm going to take an intentional loss on that set of trades down there just so that I can lighten up my position. So every one of these trades that I'm moving up will be an intentional loss on this portfolio, in this portfolio. And we'll see, we'll just kind of manage this until the end of this little session here. Pull these up. Uh-oh, now that's not good. So now that's breaking our high point. So that trend that we were following, it's still intact now. So that's not a good sign for this position. So we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do now at this point. Is it gonna hold? Is it gonna keep moving higher? Chances are pretty good at this point that it'll keep moving higher, because it broke the high point on our chart, the high point that we were looking at. And let's see, we want some selling coming in here. So as a trader, we're going to be looking at how this, if it's going to build support in that upward direction. Remember that pushing the car against the hill. Is it going to keep doing that, or is it going to pull back? And we're just kind of at the mercy of the market. It's going to be slow or fast or whatever, it doesn't matter. We just need it. We just have to respond to how the market moves. Get a little turn here would be good. No, that's not good. I'm starting to get a little nervous on this trade. I may have to take some losses through this, but I want to wait for it to give. I'm going to have to take some losses on this trade because I'm starting to get a little bit too heavy in the market. But I need a pullback, just any kind of pullback to make that. So now I'm in what I call fix-it mode because the market has broken where it's broken my line of defense, my last line of defense. So I'm in fix-it mode. And what I need now is I need the market to give me a little bit of a pullback so that I can actually fix it. So this is good, right here, keep going. I've got a new line that I've got to break. So right here, if we got it, and again, everything hinges on breaking this red line down here. So everything that we've done hinges on the market dropping all the way down to this red line. So this is the danger point right here. We've been fine throughout the entire trading session until we broke into that circle up there. Now, things have changed a little bit. That's our danger point. So we don't want it, we definitely want to make sure that market drops from here. And I don't know if it will, to be honest with you. This is one of those days where it may not work in our favor. There's a little push lower. We need it to build some momentum now. Keep going. A whole layer of profit targets got hit. So now we're going to use those profit targets to start peeling off the other end. So I'm going to take some losses on that. So a good trader has to learn how to take the losses on the trades. Now, again, what we really need is a break below this red line. Now, the probability of it breaking that red line right now is not real high. Okay? So what I've got to do as a trader is I've got to be very careful about how I manage through this little in this little range, because if it turns and moves higher, which it easily could at this point, the bias is in that direction, everything's kind of leaning towards the higher movement, then I need to get enough off the books. I need to get enough off the books so that I can build into another position at a different price point. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, is I'm going to be looking for this market to, I want it to, I have to make sure that I can peel off positions and add, so that I can add to that position later. There's a move higher, and I don't know if you can see it, but this is one of the lines where I expect it will find some support. So, man, this move higher has just been much stronger than I anticipated. Okay, so now it's moving higher here. I'm a little bit nervous about this, I'm not gonna lie. This one's, if I had time fixes things. So time is one of those things that time heals. And so I've got a little bit upside down in my positions in how much I've allocated to this trade. And so time can heal that, but I need time. Yes.
So in addition to a daily profit goal, do you also have a daily loss goal in terms of, hey, you know what, everything I'm doing, the market's just working against me. So I don't want to just lose everything in a day, so do I just say, hey, you know what, today's not working.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you definitely need that, and normally that's about 5%. So normally I'd be looking to get out of this, but but I'm not. Okay, so right back into that danger territory up here.
Another question for you as well.
You bet.
I noticed that you're still opening with sell orders.
Uh-huh.
At this point in the game, does it ever make sense to begin opening with buy orders to try and reverse? You see the trend reversing when you get in and with your mentality of, okay, let's watch the market go up and switch into opening with buy?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So there's a couple of ways that when you're in fix-it mode, which I'm in right now, there's a couple of ways that you can fix a trade. You can either switch sides and start going the other direction, or you can, peel off losses through any kind of pullbacks. In a situation like we're in right now, it may make sense here in just a minute to switch and start going the other direction, but we'll have to kind of. Yeah. One of the challenges that I had in this trading session is that I got in a little bit heavy too early in the trading in the range. I made that transition just a little bit too soon, and so it started getting me into a little bit heavier positions than I normally would have gotten into, and so that's where my mistake in this trading session has happened. So mistakes are mistakes. A trader will make a series of mistakes throughout their trading session. And what our job is to figure out how to fix mistakes in the process, which I'm in right now. I'm in what I call fix-it mode. Or their job is to just, stop if they're in a bad situation. And so either one of those is going to be the appropriate action, depending on your situation. And so the fact that this thing just keeps marching higher is it's making me a little bit nervous. Normally, I wouldn't be too nervous except for the time constraints that I'm in right now. So we're just about to the end of our trading session for the day, and I want to make sure that Deca walks away with some profit. So I'm moving things a little bit. I'm taking some risks that I normally wouldn't take right now. So we are still got that marching movement in the market. Just that another line that we've got to cross. And this is going to be kind of the last ditch right here. We either make it or we break it here. And the pressure is mounting. So all these trades down here are still on the books, and really, now at this point, if I can get down to that red line, if I can even just get down to that red line, it's going to be a victory. So, but that's all part of the process, right? This is all part of the process of learning how to manage a portfolio. Okay, it's taking out that good, now the turning point that I need. The turning point that I need in this trade here is right there. So I need it to drop below that line right there. If we can get that, Deca's going to be happy. If not, if not, then we got. Maybe I take the lucky hat off today. Maybe that'll be the key. So normally the market will rally, it'll sell off, rally, sell off, rally, sell off. And we're just getting a very persistent movement today. So we're not getting that normal fluctuation in the market, the up and down movement that we normally get. And that's what's creating this problem. Besides the fact that I got in too heavy earlier, that's the real problem. But so it's coming down to that turning point. Let's see if we can get it to break. No break. Man, this one's, oh, it's persistent today. Sometimes I feel bad because when it gets into this, I kind of have to focus on how the market, how it's moving. And so I can't really it's hard to chat through, it's hard to chat through this session. All right, coming down into that line right here. We need it to build some selling pressure. Keep going. Right on that line here. There we go. Now we're sitting on the line right now. So this is nothing, we're not out of the ballpark yet. We're just sitting on the line right here. So we need a bigger movement, another bigger movement than what we got on the downside. But the problem is that line is where we expect it to find support. So if we don't break the line, it doesn't matter. What we need is it to break that line. And once it breaks that line, then we're in better shape. So let's see what it does here. And I'm pulling these back because if it breaks it, I want to maximize my income on those trades right there. So this is a fix-it technique where you identify your breaking point. You identify your breaking point and make sure that your trades are set up to take the advantage of that breaking point to the best of its ability. So I either want my targets above that breaking point or below that breaking point. You feel the drama? You feel the stress right now? Now, I go in with a lot of trades. Another technique would be to go in with bigger trades. So different styles of traders will manage their trades differently. I prefer volume of a lot of little things that I can manage as opposed to big movements, big trades in the market. So that's just a technique or a style that I feel more comfortable with. Other traders would go in with bigger size. One more move higher here. So when in a market like this, normally when it makes these persistent moves, you can think of it like a coil that coil gets wound up, wound up, wound up, wound up, wound up, wound up. And then at some point, that coil snaps and everything kind of rights itself, right? So that we're in the middle of that wind up phase in the markets, coil winding up, winding up, winding up. We just need that thing to break. Adjust those down just a bit. And sorry, the market is just slow right now. Okay, now I'm going to start to build another position because I can get a good movement back down and take profit before the turning point. A little patience.
So I'm just wondering, Shawn,
Yeah.
since these guys need to go, if we don't want to just maybe say we'll dedicate this training session and you just work out of it because it could happen in 5 minutes.
Anyone who needs to go can go. Or do we have another event here, or what do we? If you guys need to go, that's fine. Whoever needs to go can go. I'm just going to work out of this trade, out of this position. So that's my job as a trader. Is I've got to work in and work out of positions, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And if it takes, that's the thing, is you can't put a time frame on the market and say it's got to do it in this time, or else you're at the mercy of the market. The market's not at your mercy. So I'm just going to keep managing this position until we can figure it. Oh, I'm out. I'm not connected. Did I lose connection? Did I lose internet connection here?
Anybody else frozen? No, he's good. Yeah, you're gonna jump on that. How's the live? Just moving.
The market's not moving?
No, you were frozen for 44 seconds.
That's not what you want. So I'm connected here.
Moving very, very slow.
Very slow.
Very slow.
3 blue bars on the 1 minute. Ooh. Deca, I'm sorry. The thing is that we are literally.
This is where you want all your profits.
What just happened?
Reloading all your orders.
So, yeah. So, honestly, this is real life, right? So you're going to have days where everything kind of works in your favor. You're going to have days where it goes against you. But honestly, this is what you have to do. You have to work your way out of these situations. You got yourself in a hole. You got to work yourself out of that hole. And I will. It's just a matter. It's just going to be a function of time, is all. So. What's that?
There we go. Okay. All right, so let's give, Shawn's going to continue trading so he can make Deca some money. Okay. But Coach, come on up here with your 2 students here. And if we can have Janessa come up. Janessa is our brand new chairman of the board. So congratulations, Janessa. Welcome.
Thank you.
And she keeps me in line.
I try.
And,
You know Eric. He doesn't need to be kept in line.
Yeah.
He's a hard worker.
So I'm gonna give this check. So the chamber has a small check for you today, because again, we want to start moving forward for you, and we have a check for. Do we have a?
I can talk loud.
You talk loud.
I'm a loud talker.
You turn over. So you take my spot.
So on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, to show our membership with the Deca Club, we're giving you $250.
Oh, thank you.
But the best news that we have for you guys is Shawn's going to keep trading. And we're all rooting for that coil to crash.
Yeah.
But also, we have a golf tournament for the Chamber of Commerce that'll happen here in September. We do it every year. We want to donate the proceeds from that golf tournament to a Deca scholarship. We want you guys to come out, be a part of it. We want your students to come, participate in sponsoring a hole, just be a part of the whole aspect of it. All the business partners come together from the community, and we want to really give back to the students who are going to be the future generations and future business holders.
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you. So, all right. So we're gonna just another really quick announcement. This is for members that are still here. We have our Chamber of Commerce pool party coming up really quick on June 12th at 7 o'clock at the Linden Aquatic Center. Not the Pleasant Grove pool, because everyone's read about what's going on there, right? So we don't want to go back there for just a moment until we get everything fixed today. But again, June 12th, 7 p.m. at the Linden Aquatic Center. Again, we want to thank, Shawn, does your crew have a nickname?
Right now, it's not very good.
No, no. We want to give special thanks to Shawn, and we'll call you the crew. How's that? And his crew, his team members today. So thank you. Right. Again, we want to give thanks to Apiary Fund and Trader on the Street. Wonderful opportunity for us today. This was filmed live, and it was on YouTube. It probably still is. And so we've got the link out on our chamber page, and we'll just push people to that so they can actually learn from this and take away those lessons, that education. Again, we thank Deca Club for being here today, especially you two for pushing through to the end for us, right? So again, thank you again. We'll see you in, when we get July, we have July off. So we'll see them in August.
I will say next week, right?
Yeah, and next week at the pool party. So again, thank you.
Is there a time you want us out of here?
All right. I will be leaving by 1.
Just going to keep trading here for a second, and any of our traders here, you can kind of join along. This is a rough hole to be in, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work our way out of that hole. Had kind of the internet, for those of you out there, the internet up here is fried, so I'm switching over to my laptop here and my phone. So I'm going to run through my phone. And let's see if we can get this back up and running.
I don't know. The 5G is hitting really high.
It is?
At Tanner just checked it. Everything looks good. You're going to go to here, though?
Well, unless I can...
We don't have to. I just want to get your screen captured.
Gotcha.
Evan, his screen. He's going to his Mac. I don't think this is going to come into play, but this room, we need to be cleaned up now.
By 1. We should be okay. So bear with me here. We're going to try and get... we're going to try and get our computer back up and...
Busy. I'm going to take off.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
Talk a little bit later.
I'll come back. I'll come by.
Eric will be in touch with me.
Yeah, we'll work out something.
Keep trading. We followed you, and we're in massive
You're
losses
in
right
trouble.
now. So you're going to have to make up our differences.
That just would not. It won't turn.
That's what it's been doing for me for 2 weeks now.
Just we haven't talked about it.
We talked about it, yeah.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it's going to do to me. I get up, and then the next thing I know, I'm down. Like right now, we're down 2. I'm down 3.86%.
Yeah.
on our smaller.
All right. You what? On the laptop? Hold on here. So just an update. I stopped out of all of my trades. So one of the things that we have is a 2% stop loss on each of the trades. It's fundamental to the Apiary Fund. So I just got stopped out of all of my trades. I hit that 2% stop loss on all of them. And so I've gone back in and I've deposited some more money into the account. This is a big no-no when you're trading. You don't go back in and deposit money. But in order to fix this, I'm going to need to deposit some money and put myself back into a situation where I can trade again. And so now I'm going to build into a little bit of a bigger position, another position. And so right now, as of right now, I'm down about $12,000 on the day. I'm down about $12,000 on the day. I'm not worried. I know that I can fix this as long as I can get some fluctuations, some movement in the market, and it'll happen. I don't know when that's going to happen, and I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait through the process. For those of you out in YouTube world or whatever, that's, you know, this is as bad as it gets in a trading session, but I'm fairly confident we're going to be able to get back into the saddle in this and start and be able to fix this. So I just did a reset on the account. Again, this is not what you want to do as a trader, but our goal right now is to get back into a profitable situation. So with that, we're gonna get busy. I'm gonna crank. I'm not gonna talk. I'm just gonna trade. We should probably just cut YouTube at this point because you can't get in and see it, and then I'll just update everybody as we. We'll just update everybody as we. Yeah. Uh huh.
We'll just do an episode of everything. We'll put it all together and make it like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can do that. I'll need a quick time.
Or Orlando, tell YouTube that he's going to trade his way out of this. He's going to record his screen. Actually, Shawn, you just tell him. And then we'll end.
All right, for those out in YouTube world, took a loss. So basically, I'm reset in the account. Took the losses to hit the loss target, the stop losses for the day. And what I'm doing right now is going to get into another trading session and start that over again. I'll record this session so everybody can see, but I'm going to get a little busy. I'm going to get a little aggressive, and hopefully fix this situation that I've got myself in. So there we go. That's where we're at.
So we're going to probably end YouTube, and then we'll go back and put everything together once it's done because they won't be able to see anything anyway.
Okay. So we will, we're going to record, screen record this. We'll end the session right now, and then we'll get back and we'll screen record everything that we're doing so that you have the fix session, and then we'll post that back up on YouTube when we get to it. I don't know what else to say.
Say thank you, and check out the next episode.
All right, see you out there.